As a photographer, there's no place I've wanted to photograph more than Route 66. So I packed up my bags and drove from North Carolina to Oklahoma to begin driving Route 66 all the way to California. It's been a dream of mine to shoot these locations before most of them disappear. We only have a few days, so I can't stop everywhere, but there's still a lot of places and a few surprises. But our first stop is about an hour west of Oklahoma City.
So we're currently very far away from North Carolina. For this very special trip, we're going to be shooting on the Sony A7C, as always. Right now I have my 35mm on here. I think for a lot of this trip, the 35mm will be my go-to, but I'm also going to be shooting on the 24mm, the 50mm, and also brought my 20mm as well with me. As you can tell, it is extremely windy out here today, so we're going to try and shoot this as quickly as possible, move on to the next location. But I've chosen the first location to be Lucille's Historic Highway gas station. I feel like this is one of the first stops along Route 66 in Oklahoma that really captures the true essence of what Route 66 historically is. So a lot of Route 66 is a whole lot of nothing, honestly. You're driving down a lot of it, you just have farmlands and the highway on one side. So if we're trying to make good time today, we're not going to stop for every single little thing that we see. There was one place back there that I thought would have been a really cool photo to get, but it was a little too far off the highway, and I think we need to try and get to Amarillo, Texas tonight. So now we're at the second stop on our Route 66 trip. We're at the Cotton Bowl Motel sign. It's just the sign, you can't even shoot the motel itself. But definitely want to get a photo of this motel sign while we can. Haley's over there taking photos. This is the first real stop now that we've reached Texas, which is where I'm most excited about for this Route 66 trip. This is the first abandoned place stop. So I decided to swap to the 20mm 1.8, just something a little bit wider to try and capture this whole scene a little bit more. So I'm gonna go shoot. On to the next location. This place is actually a restaurant. Sadly, it is closed. I really wish it was open. Now we're gonna move a little bit closer for this shot. I think a little closer up with the tower up here. So this is the stop today. I think I'm probably the most excited for. I love taking photos here, but I think the one problem I'm noticing is shooting this at sunset at this angle. I don't want to shoot it from the other side because there are some buildings down here that I really don't want to get in the shot. But shooting the sun facing this way, I'm trying really hard not to get my shadow in the shot, but I really want to get lower to the ground and get some of that foreground in the shot with this tower. So I think we're going to try and move down and see how it looks from the other side, see if it looks decent. So I think I can get a lower to the ground shot, but I'm also a lot closer to the tower now, so I'm gonna switch to the 20mm and try and still get a wide view of it. All right, I think I got all the shots I wanted to get here. So that means we have one more location left to go. We need to hurry before the sun goes down and then get to Amarillo, where we are staying for the night. So one thing I'm pretty sad about is apparently this past November, some people came in here and started to fix up this place, and they've started clearing out a bunch of the trash, but they have piled all of these wheels right here next to this, this truck under this shelter, which I have wanted a photo of for a long, long time, but it looks like I was a little bit too late for that. Luckily, I found an angle where I got a photo I'm kind of happy with, but I'm also pretty sad I did not get the photo I really wanted to get from here today. So this is the final shot of the day. This might be very familiar to some of you guys. Honestly, most of the photos I took today might be pretty familiar to you guys. You've probably seen them in other photography Route 66 videos, but every single photo today has been on my bucket list, and I'm so incredibly thankful that I can come out here and take these photos. It's been really windy, first of all, but I did not let it ruin the day. But this is the final photo we're going to get for the day. So the sun has now set and I am done shooting for the day. Today has been an absolutely crazy day. First day on Route 66. We started out the day in Oklahoma City, and just about an hour ago, I got a notification on my phone that there is a tornado watch in Oklahoma City, because we were originally going to stay an extra day in Oklahoma City to try and wait out this crazy wind. But it looks like we ended up getting out of there just in time, thankfully. Everything I've seen today has been completely new to me. I've never been to Oklahoma before, I've never been to Texas before, so today has been full of firsts. First time on Route 66, it's absolutely crazy, and it's days like today that remind me why I created this YouTube channel in the first place, because I've never really traveled a whole lot. I've never gone to too many places outside of North Carolina. So when I created this YouTube channel, I created it with the idea that I would be able to film these videos of me going to these places I've never been before and be able to bring you guys along with me. So I'm just very thankful that I'm now in this position where I'm able to do that. We are in Tucumcari, New Mexico. This is just across the border from Texas, pretty much. So many places here to photograph. Literally everywhere I look, there is something to photograph. So many famous or well-known photograph locations here. I do kind of wish I was here at night so I could photograph all the neon signs, because all of these places along this main road are lit up. But sadly, due to time constraints, since we probably need to make it to Arizona by the end of the day today. But for now, I'm just trying to soak it all in here.
On the south side of Chicago, 600 South State, there's a sign on a building that'll read Jesus saved. It's a mission for men who can't make it on their own. I'm homesick in Chicago, I can't go home, but my heart's going home tonight. Again in my dreams, I'll hold her tight. Outside the neon sign keeps flashing off and on in a mission in Chicago. Lord, I want to go home. Years ago last summer, she took me to the train. I bought a ticket to Chicago, a country boy with a dream. Now I'm fresh out of jail, Shreveport, Michigan, and I wanna go home. But my heart
Tucumcari has got to be one of my favorite places I've ever photographed.
again in my dreams, I'll hold her tight. Outside the neon sign keeps flashing up and on in a mission in Chicago. Oh Lord, I wanna go home in a mission in Chicago. Oh Lord, let me go home.
I could have easily spent all day wandering around Tucumcari taking photos. I would have loved to photograph all of these same places at night when the neon signs are lit up, but sadly, we only had about an hour before we had to drive all the way across New Mexico and Arizona. But that didn't stop me from taking some photos along the way. Once we got deeper into New Mexico, that's when the geography really began to change. We also came across this abandoned pancake house and apparently Taco Bell. Either way, it caught my eye because it was unique and I would have loved to stop here when it was not abandoned. But after about a 7 or 8 hour drive, that brings us to our final location, Holbrook, Arizona.
So we have made it to the final stop of the day, the Wigwam Motel. I'm extremely excited for this one because it is iconic on Route 66, like many of the other locations I've shot at today. Obviously, you can still stay at this hotel, and there are quite a few people staying here, so they do have their cars parked out front. So we're going to try and work around it and hope we can get some cool shots of some of the wigwams. We'll see how it turns out. And with that, I think we are done shooting for the day. The sun is about to set. I'm tired. I spent most of the day driving, So I'm ready to go home and relax and prepare for tomorrow. And we are heading to California. So it's currently the next morning. We're about to leave for the final day of driving on Route 66. But last night I had the chance to finally go through and edit some of the photos I've shot so far on this trip. I'm really happy with all of the photos I've gotten so far. I think last night's photos at the Wigwam Motel would have actually been better if I had shot it either earlier in the day or later at night. One thing I've noticed about shooting, at least out west, the lighting is a lot different compared to the East Coast, which might sound weird to some of you guys, but I asked Haley about it as well, and she noticed it too. It seems like the light, especially like midday light, is less contrasty out here. The shadows seem less harsh. They don't seem as dark. So the photos look a lot better during the midday rather than they do in the evening, actually, which I don't know if you guys agree with me. Let me know in the comments if you think so as well, or I think it at least fits the vibe or the aesthetic of the photos out here a lot more. So I think if you guys are ever planning on going to the Wigwam Motel to take photos, the best time to do it is to either wait until later at night or go between 11 a.m. and 3 p.m., which is when people are checking out and then checking into the motel. That way you can try and get photos there midday when the lighting is apparently the best, and hopefully less cars are there because people have checked out and left, unless they're staying multiple days. But having to work around the normal cars that were parked there from the guests that were staying at the motel is kind of annoying, but what can you do? But yeah, I hope you guys have been enjoying these videos so far. Driving Route 66 has been a crazy experience. It's definitely a photography gold mine, like I mentioned. If you enjoy these videos, you definitely need to get out here and do it yourself. In fact, I'm actually already hoping and planning to do another trip on Route 66 because this trip was kind of a tight schedule, so we really only had time to stop at the main locations we wanted to stop and get photos. But there's tons of stretches of Route 66 that I would love to travel, especially in New Mexico, which I did not get to. I'm about to drive 5 hours to Amboy, California. We're currently in Holbrook, Arizona still. And we're going to photograph one of the most iconic spots of Route 66 besides Tucumcari and here in Holbrook. So I'm excited to do that today. And then I'm not looking forward to making this drive back home. So it looks like everyone is finally clearing out of this location, so I am going to finally snap the photo I want. All I need is this one photo, and then I will get other photos around the area. Your hair is actually like absolutely going crazy right now, but it's actually perfect. It's great. I gotta say, just off of the few photos that I've taken so far of the sign and then of Haley, driving 5 hours to this location through the desert, through absolute nothingness, was completely worth it. Do you think it was worth coming here?
I don't know. I just pulled a muscle.
It was worth coming here. While I was across the street taking photos of the Roy's sign, I saw this old church over here across the street. I was like, well, I'm here. I'll probably never come here again, so I might as well get a photo of this place while I can. And with that, I think we have reached the end of the road trip. You know, I had a lot of people tell me that this trip would be a life-changing trip for me, and I really think it has been. I think one of the most important lessons I've learned as a photographer, which even I've been pretty bad at, I'll be honest, especially since starting this YouTube channel, has been to spend less money on camera gear and spend more money on actually going places, traveling to take photos. There is so much more value in traveling to take photos. And when I think about it, the last time I really traveled with the purpose of taking photos exactly was probably about like 2 or 3 years ago. So it's been a long time. I'm glad I could make this drive on Route 66. I would kind of consider it the photographer's pilgrimage. I know that myself, along with every other photography YouTuber, we all make videos about camera gear. And the reality is, it's not that we necessarily enjoy making those videos all the time, but it is because it is what gets views, it is what performs well. And it's not a bad thing because, you know, a lot of people find these videos because they are looking for help, which is probably how a lot of you guys found this YouTube channel. I've been making YouTube videos for about the past 2 years. I've been taking photos for probably about the past 7 or 8 years at this point. And I can honestly say my biggest regret of doing photography is spending so much money on camera gear. Even though I don't always buy the most expensive lenses, I'm not always buying new cameras. I wish I would have spent more of that money traveling rather than buying new lenses. Because realistically, you guys have been watching these videos. If you've seen most of the videos I make, I use the 35mm 1.8 almost 95% of the time. I try and use other lenses, but I usually always fall back to the 35mm. So if I just had my camera and a 35mm lens, I would be just as happy traveling all of these places, and it would honestly make my life so much easier. And I would still be having just as much fun taking photos because I'm not worried about swapping out lenses or whatever camera specifically I have. I know I have my Sony A7C, I know I have my 35mm lens, and I know I'm good. So I appreciate you guys watching these Route 66 videos. I appreciate everyone who watches my videos. This trip has been a really long time coming. As I mentioned in a previous video, the whole point of this YouTube channel has been so I could bring you guys along and film my journey traveling to places I've never been to before. So here we are at the end of the trip, and I've driven thousands of miles now, countless hours, and I can honestly say every dollar I've spent, every minute that's gone by has been worth it. So I really hope I could inspire all of you guys to travel and just take more photos.
And with that, I reached the end of our Route 66 trip. If you've ever thought about making the journey to photograph these locations, I suggest doing it as soon as possible. While the most iconic spots are preserved and probably won't be going anywhere anytime soon, many other locations won't be there forever. While I'm sad about missing some photos I wanted, I'm happy to say I made this drive because I got some of my favorite photos I've ever shot. I hope to one day return out west and photograph these locations at night. I mean, if you don't get every single photo you want in one trip, then that means you just have more incentive to come back. All of the photos in these videos have been edited with my Lightroom presets, which you can buy to help support me so I can make more videos like this one. Thanks for watching my Route 66 videos. Go out and shoot.